Bienvenidas, bienvenidos. We are so excited for the people of New York. We are thrilled with the primary that has just occurred, so much so that we said we're going to stop this series on our summer travels to congratulate New York and to talk about Zohran Mamdani. Who is he? Where does he come from? So exciting. But first, this is Latina Literati. As with our culture, the South Asian culture, children are an extension of their parents. And I truly believe that Zohran Mamdani is the extension of his incredible parents. His mother, of course, is Mira Nair, who's the fabulous filmmaker. What a woman. Both her parents were Harvard educated. Her mother is responsible for just exploding South Asian film onto the US cinema. I remember clearly, yes, she had done Salam Bombay, but when she did Mississippi Masala, it was the first time, I'm going to date myself now, 1991, I'm in graduate school, and it's the first time that a major motion picture is filled with people who look like me. Beautiful brown people, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And the story, of course, in and of itself is quite interesting. Mississippi Masala deals with an interracial couple and, the traditions of the families and all of the upset that causes. But more importantly, it talks about the South Asian presence being very real. And I don't think until then there was an understanding of how important the South Asian community would be for the United States and really for the world. South Asians now make up the largest number of Asian immigrants to the United States, and also the politics of the world impacts South Asians coming to the United States. And Mamdani's family was part of the many South Asian families that were expelled from East Africa, specifically Idi Amin, you remember the dictator, very bloody dictator in Uganda, told all East Africans, you need to get out now. And so his father, although born in Bombay, had been living as many South Asians and many people from all over the world. There are huge Lebanese and other communities throughout Africa. Africa is a huge melting pot, incredible resources, incredible opportunities for many communities. And you'll remember that the British actually brought the South Asians with them to help in their colonial exploits in Africa. But in any case, 1990s, Idi Amin says you're out, and so one of the families that leaves is Mamdani's. And so his parents settle in New York. His father is a professor, very well-known professor at Columbia University. Quite interesting because, of course, Columbia has been complicit in the attacks on immigrants and the taking of people off the street like Mahmoud Khalil. But fascinating that both his parents are very well educated, incredible representatives of their communities. And so I feel like that gave him a level of security. And as the great poet Khalil Gibran said, what we must give all our children, which is roots and wings. He knows where he's from. He was born in Uganda. He comes to the US as a 7-year-old, goes to top schools, does very well, and then starts immediately right after school working in different political campaigns, organizing, really understanding that participating in the process is what's going to help the people around him live better. And so he is very quickly able to take on a 5-term incumbent and win a position in the New York legislature.
Today, 8 months after launching this campaign, with the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford, we have won. I will fight for a city that works for you, that is affordable for you, that is safe for you. I will work to be a mayor you will be proud to call your own.
So many initiatives are proposed during the time of his legislature, and of course the supporting the free buses is one of them. And so he has some wonderful ideas, free childcare and free buses. And it's so interesting because when there was the pilot program of the free buses in New York, ridership went up almost 30%, and most of it was from the lowest income. So that really works. In other words, the people who benefit the most from these programs are those that need them the most. And taking the minimum wage to $30 by 2030 is absolutely something that needs to be done. There's a big difference between a minimum wage and a living wage. And so living in California, we already know that. Our living wage is already in the mid-20s, and it will surely be to 30 before 2030, but New York needs to catch up. And so I'm thrilled with the ideas that he has, the energy, the over 50,000 volunteers, over 1 million households were spoken to, were called, and the doors knocked. This talks about a people power campaign that actually can ensure that he will be the next mayor of one of the major cities in the world. And that, of course, has implications around the world. And so we're just thrilled that this has occurred. We congratulate New York. He has recently married a wonderful Syrian artist, and she herself is a cartoonist and artist. So really, congratulations to him and to his family. Amazing. And we look forward to his wonderful plans and his incredible program, his policies that will unfold, and also to the way that he answers those who would try and attack him, because he's very self-deprecating and very humble, and someone who just really wants to focus on the policies as those who live in service should. Focus on what you can do to others, and there is no greater path in life than to be in service of others. And so we, again, just wonderful, very happy, and so we wanted to just stop and say so. Congratulations, New York, you've done a fabulous job. And now on to my favorite part of the video, the book recommendations. When we talk about books by South Asians, there's so many wonderful authors, so many stories, and again, the immigrant experience, having to relocate to different countries, is something that we all share. And it's a universal theme and something that we can all relate to. So the first book is Kololo Hills by Nima Shah. And this is a book exactly about what Mamdani's family lived through, which is the being expelled in the 60s from East Africa and having to relocate, sometimes with no help and no resources, but knowing that you have to leave on pain of death and finding a brand new place to settle. And so it's fascinating to see how different families resolve this predicament, where you have to leave a place where you've lived your life, you have raised your family, you have a business or a job, and so you just have to leave. And so I feel like this is a story that we need to understand, because it is a story that allows us to identify, feel empathy, and put in context so many stories of those around us. The second book is called The Burqa by Miriam Khan, and this is really a feisty, fun book of essays by Muslim women that talk about what does the burqa mean? What does it mean to live covered, and this fallacy that somehow there is complete submission, when many times, whether you use the burqa or you cover yourself or not, you really are the queen bee. You are the person in charge of the house, and what you say goes. So it's really, I think, challenges stereotypes and challenges a lot of the attacks that we see on Mamdani and all religious leaders that the right would like to attack. So I feel like the way that we answer that is by the voices of the people who are actually living in these communities, and we can understand and really look at how they live and their values, and we'll see that we are far more alike than we are different. Stories, so many authors, but of course one that stands out in a class by herself is Arundhati Roy, and so her books are so thoroughly, the language is beautiful, the message is universal, and her place as a messenger, as someone who allows us to uncover those universal truths within our own lives and how we identify with so many of her characters. Just fabulous author. And so again, she has many, many books, but the book I'm going to recommend is called The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. And this is a book about stories from throughout the Indian subcontinent, everything from Kashmir to Delhi, And it's the stories of people in love. It's the story of people in despair. It's the story of people facing crises. It's the story of people who have to leave. And so this collection of stories really goes to the very heart of the experience in India, and how she is able to bring that to us in a way that invites us to understand, invites us to enjoy the beauty of the culture and the wonders that is one of the oldest cultures on earth. You know, one of the oldest medical systems on earth, you know, is of course the Ayurvedic medical system. We had the opportunity to visit many years ago and to see things like observatories from 2,000 years ago that are absolutely perfect, exact, that just was fascinating. And so I have a great deal of respect for the culture and the food, wonderful food. So really enjoying, understanding, and learning from these books, and I invite you to do the same. And as always, check your local bookstore, check your local library, because many of these books are there for you, for your use, and we always want to support our local libraries and our local booksellers. So thank you so much for this joint journey, and tell me what you're thinking. What do you think about what's going on in New York, and also about the books we've recommended, and what are you reading? Or do you have any books that you'd like to recommend to us? Because we'd love to hear from you. As always, con mucho cariño, mucho salud, mucho amor. Gracias.